Welcome to Meisum, Thanzat.
Thank you so much for having me on.
And it's a pleasure to have you once again in Meisum. This is the second time you're coming to Meisum. The first time you came was when you released your book, The Universe and Our Destiny. Yeah. So, but this time you're coming to Meisum because I think you're one of the candidates who I feel is one of the topper among the Tangkhuls in Metric exam. So, Thanzat is from Pali. Maybe I'll ask you to introduce yourself and then we'll start with that.
All right. My name is Thanzat Raingam. I'm studying right now in class 11. I've just given my matriculation exam earlier this year and my results have come out recently. I secured 98% and I'm studying in Delhi Public School, Guwahati. I'm from Pali, Manipur.
Yeah, 90%. I think that's one of the highest number that I have heard among Tangkhuls this time. I think you're one of the candidates who would also be receiving maybe Bob Kating's scholarship also, I don't know.
Hopefully.
Let's hope for the best. Can you tell us about your preparation for leading up to your metric exam and what's your daily discipline?
If I would be very candid with you, like my daily routine, at least up till the first pre-board, was rather
First pre-board, you have two pre-board?
Yes, we had two pre-boards preceding the board examination. And to be honest, I will admit that I was rather lackluster in my preparations leading to the first pre-board. And though I did make extensive notes, I learned that it would help a lot, right? Memorizing, understanding these concepts, notes really help. But I didn't really work on my study technique properly. I just did whatever felt was right. I lacked the flow, the routine, that uniformity. And which is why my pre-board 1 didn't go as well as expected. Of course, it wasn't a total wipeout, but at the same time, it was a humbling experience. Like, it was a learning experience. It made me learn that what I'm doing right now isn't so right. There's a lot of areas I can improve on. So, starting from the first pre-board up to my board examination, whenever possible, after coming back from school or when I had holidays, I would just study. Maybe 3 subjects, 4 subjects a day. Maybe I devote 1 or 1.5 hours to each subject. Preferably maths or science would get the most attention. And I'd take a gap of 15 or so minutes.
So in the second report, what was your improvement or how you changed your preparation?
In the second pre-board, first of all, I just changed my study routine. Yes. I stopped studying only 1 subject per day, which I learned leads to burnout and isn't really effective when you're trying to tackle a lot of lessons at once. And I tried to study a lot of subjects, maybe 3, preferably in one day. I tried to finish at least 3 so that I could get my grip on all of the subjects better. So decided to start memorizing my notes, which I had previously just read before, just gone through, gloss over like a newspaper. So I decided to make my understanding deeper by memorizing.
And for the main exam, you also took prep tuition, or is it like that you prepared yourself?
Yes, I took prep tuitions. Since the beginning of class 10, I have taken tuition in mathematics and science. But for the other subjects, I've been self-studying.
Okay, so your favorite subject, what is it, and how much you scored in your favorite subject?
My favorite subject would be mathematics, and that's partly because of how objective it is. I like how logical it is. It's not subjective. There's no room for descriptiveness. It's based on logic and reason, and I really like that. And as for my score, I got 99% in mathematics standard.
So you got 99% in maths, and then you got 99 in
social science and in IT. 98 in English, 95 in science, and 19 in Hindi.
Okay, so Hindi was the one that took it down a little bit.
Correct, more or less.
So you can share in more specifics about how you prepare your subjects and the one that requires more attention for you. So if you can tell something in more specific about that.
For class 10, right?
Class 10, yes.
Well, in grade 10, I spent most of my time studying science and mathematics. And yes, it does seem rather stereotypical that I would devote my focus to mathematics and science and neglect the other subjects. But truthfully, I did find these two subjects more interesting, tedious, and hard to understand, all three at the same time compared to the other subjects. Well, starting first off with mathematics, I found it fast. I'll be very honest with you. And the thing about mathematics is that there's no fixed way to actually study. You can't make notes or memorize them like you can memorize other subjects. You can't frame stuff the way you want. You can't write with your own words, right? You have to be very precise and logical. One step wrong and the entire calculation goes haywire. So for mathematics, what I did was I thoroughly practiced the notebook, the textbook questions, and then after that I went on to the reference books. I've been using this reference book series since class 8, R.D. Sharma. They have an extensive list of questions, both of the lower difficulty, higher difficulty. They have example sums where they have shown the answers, and they also have exercises with the answers in the back. So yes, I refer to reference books like these. I've solved many sums, and this really helped build a deep understanding of the chapter itself, and made me prepared for like any question that could come in the examination. Now, for science, in the beginning of class 10, I relied mostly on just reading over the chapter, like glossing over the paragraphs and underlining the important details, making small notes, but still, I thought of studying like reading a newspaper. You read it over and over again enough times and you eventually get the grasp of it. But I realized that this wasn't going to work. I had to get a deeper understanding. So, although it might not have been the best strategy in terms of time conservation, but I started to make extensive notes, mostly framing them in the form of questions and answers. I made notes of several chapters, chemistry and physics in particular. As for biology, I did not make a lot of notes. I just read over, like I would do with history or geography, and I think, at least according to my experience and results I've gotten, that was enough for me. So chemistry and physics were the subjects where I devoted most of my time, making notes, memorizing them, practicing numericals for physics, that too. I also had some reference books for physics and science as a whole, which I referred to from time to time, although I didn't rely on them completely, because the truth is, for science, it's not like mathematics that you have to practice for questions that might come outside. The science textbook is more or less comprehensive in its nature. You don't need to go out of your way to get a reference book that has a lot of extra details. You have enough knowledge in the science book. So if you go thorough enough, if you prepare every nook and cranny, from the introduction to the concluding paragraph of the lesson, and practice the backside answers, it's pretty much guaranteed that you will have a deep understanding.
And for Hindi?
Yes, Hindi, I have always been weak in Hindi, and to be fair, I haven't really had such a religious practice schedule for Hindi and the language subjects in general. But if you ask me, what I did for Hindi was, we had literature and grammar and writing. Like literature, I just read it like English. For the prose section, I read it like I would read an English chapter, read it like a newspaper. I could understand the characters involved, the setup, the conflict, the resolution, and although you had to read it over and over again for some chapters to really understand the nuances and the subplots, what was happening, that was enough for me. And for poetry, yes, poetry.
You have to memorize it.
Correct. To some extent, you do have to memorize, but I did have a reference book, Golden. I used it to search for the word meanings in some poems, just say Meera or Kabir ka poetry, and it really helped me. I also wrote some notes for those questions, particularly from lines that were referred to again and again in previous year's question papers. For grammar, I referred to a reference book entirely, because in class 10, you don't have an NCERT grammar book.
Okay.
Like in the literature book, there are some short grammatical sections, but for me, as I've always been weak in Hindi, I have not really been that strong enough. So I needed some extensive practice in grammar. So I bought the Hindi grammar book, Saraswati, and it really helped me a lot. They have a lot of backside question answers, and I could say that really got me those precious 4 or 5 marks that missed every single time I did not prepare for grammar correctly. As for writing is just like English. It's similar to English, as in the sense that you need to really be thorough with your format, and you can be more lax with your composition, the body of your composition, and all you have to keep in mind is that you get the format correct, sender's address, receiver's address, this and that.
But you said that Hindi was the one like you struggled with, but you did not take additional help in terms of taking extra tuitions for Hindi, right?
No. Well, I did take tuition, but I stopped because we had shifted homes. It was kind of difficult for the tutor to come. And I figured that if I tried hard enough, if I tried smart enough, I would be able to manage Hindi. Even though it was hard, I would be able to get a good enough mark.
Okay. And in Don Bosco, like, can you just tell about a little bit about your friend circle and the like competition over there?
Right. Well, my friend circle in Don Bosco, I didn't really have a lot of friends. I chose to confine my circle to a few of them. And of course, among them, we did have some competition, but mostly we were, though we were good in studies, we never actually managed to compete with the toppers themselves, those who scored very high grades.
Yeah, nowadays, one of the most challenging thing for the youngsters is the screen time. I mean, a lot of boys and girls, they are now into mobile games, and like, the screen time take a lot of their studies time as well. So what is your routine like, particularly, using your mobile phones, tablet or laptop?
Well, I do try to keep my screen time as low as I can. Normally, I average out around 1.5 hours. This is like mostly after I come home. I have my lunch. Maybe I use the phone for 45 minutes or so. Then I study. And then during the evening, like just for half an hour.
So mostly, like when you browse, is it social media? Is it game? What do you do with your like mobile phones or laptop or tablet? What do you do?
Mostly, I just scroll through articles. I read newspapers because I like learning new things. And sometimes, yes, I do check out on my social media.
Okay. And what's your take on like the AI and things like that now, new development that may be quite helpful for your preparation in studies and all? Do you indulge in those things as well?
Not really. I'm not dismissing the possibility of online learning and this, but I am rather skeptical to a certain extent. Not in the fact that online learning can't help me, but maybe I'll end up opening the phone for the purpose of learning, and then 30 minutes later I'm scrolling through my social media. So that's one thing.
So that was your conscious decision to like cut down the usage, or is it that your parents asked you to do that?
I would say it's a combination of both.
Okay. But like going forward, I think you'll be more. We'll all be more exposed to like tech, and
Certainly.
particularly you'll be using laptop quite a lot, maybe computer a lot. So, how do you plan to balance this or continue this discipline?
Well, I can't say for certain. It is going to be hard to maintain that balance, especially between my studies and my life and my screen time. But I think I've begun to recognize the necessity of this balance. Partly because if I devote too much time to my devices, I won't even get enough time to study. Because between class 10 and 11, there is another massive jump in course load, and I realized that if you don't devote enough time to your studies, you'll get lost.
So, so like we cannot be always studying. We should also have some leisure time. Yeah. So, what's your hobbies and like how do you spend your weekend, leisure time?
Well, my hobbies are reading. I like sometimes I like jogging later in the evening if I have time. And I'm also interested in writing, although just write short articles, short stories.
We'll come back to writing a little more later, but like Are you into like games and sports?
Not really. It's one of the things I regret, the fact that I didn't have the interest or the time to games or sports. Yeah.
Well, and then 11th, you moved from Don Bosco to now DBS, right?
Yes.
So, what are the subjects that you have taken now?
Well, for grade 11, I've taken physics, chemistry, mathematics, biology, psychology, and English. That's my subject combination, 6.
So, how's the experience going from Don Bosco to DBS?
From class 10 to 11, there's like a huge jump.
Transition.
Yeah. It's like the same when I entered high school. You're no longer being exposed to like the kind of stuff you study in class 7. Class 8, you have to get down, study or get your facts straight, start making notes, start practicing. But when you look at it from the level of class 10, it really looks like child's play. And again, it's like a staircase. You come up to class 11, class 10 looks like child's play again. Well, in a way, I think that class 11 is a bit more easy for me in the sense that I have the subjects of my choice, science stream. I don't have to study social science or Hindi or IT anymore.
But the level, is it significant for you, like, or is it like you think that it's light for you?
The difficulty level has significantly increased. Mathematics is still manageable, I would say, perhaps, to an extent, because the course load has not increased dramatically. The number of chapters is more or less similar to that in class 10, although difficulty level has increased, but I can deal with mathematics. Same goes for English, although you do have to read between the lines and you have to figure out what the characters are trying to say. It's like class 10 English. If you really understand the plot of the chapter, then you can frame your own answer based on your understanding. The real difficulty starts with physics, chemistry, and biology. The thing about these 3 subjects is that in class 10, you got a rather surface level overview of these subjects. They just, in comparison to class 11, they just skimmed over the basic chapters and concepts that you need to know. And in class 11, you have 2 books for physics and 2 books for chemistry. You have 9 chapters for chemistry and 14 for physics, 19 for biology. That is a lot, and it's not just hard, but it's tedious preparing for all these chapters. You need to remember a lot of formulae, especially for chemistry now, which has a lot of numericals. Same goes for
You're
physics.
excited or are you overwhelmed?
Well, I am excited. I'm very excited actually. I'm excited because I wanted to learn about these things, like the quantum mechanical model of the atom, Newton's laws of motions, calculus. All of these things have fascinated me, and looking at these subjects, calculus, quantum mechanics, from the level of class 8, 7 and the lower grades, I always felt like these were far off things that I wouldn't be able to reach. And yet I wanted to. And now in class 11, I have the opportunity. And these are topics that genuinely interest me. So I guess maybe it could count as an advantage for me.
So, like after 12, what's your plan? You'd like to go to medicine, maths, physics, or you wanted to go to engineering? What's your plan?
I mean, for now, and I do change my career plans often. It's like a cycle. Right now, my plan is to become a theoretical physicist, which I have had this plan for quite a while. Like, I wanted to be a scientist since I was a kid. So I guess being a scientist and a theoretical physicist are kind of similar. So I take a special interest in physics. And I forgot to add, but I did take psychology as my 6th optional subject. So I was interested in the subject, not because I had a deep understanding, but because it fascinated me. So I figured if maybe physics or medical engineering doesn't suit me, I will have a future in psychology, which is a subject that also interests me.
In the new education policy, I think you can choose other subjects as well.
Yeah, there are a lot of electives.
Maths, physics, and psychology.
You also have business studies, IP, fine arts,
yes,
which are available to students of different streams. Yes.
Okay.
So there's like a very flexible subject choice.
Because you wanted to become a scientist, and then you wrote a book at a very young age. Like, are you planning to also write another book in continuation to the book that you have written earlier?
Well, right now, I guess I'm way too swamped by my own studies, and I'll be honest, the more I learn, the more I become aware of what I don't know. So, right now, I just want to keep learning so that by the time I know enough, I'll have enough knowledge that I can share out with the world. So, well, just to cut it short, I just want to wait a little bit. So probably not in the near future.
The last time you came to Meisum, I asked you this question about among the chapters from the book that you have written.
Yes.
Among the chapters that you have written, which one was your favorite chapter? And you said the end of the universe.
Yes.
And then you also mentioned that you like to take a chance on working one of those theories and to make a progress or something like that. Is there any steps you have taken or plan to work towards those theories for now?
Well, aside from my schooling, not really.
Not yet.
That's one part of my dream I will achieve yet.
Okay, great. So maybe last question. Now you have a choice, career choice. You also have a subject that you wanted to take very clearly.
Yeah.
Any choice of institutions that you wanted to go?
Well, as for institutions, after my 12th, right?
After your 12.
I'll be honest, I haven't given that much thought, but I have heard that Christ College in Bangalore, they do give double honors in subjects.
Double honors?
Yes.
Okay.
Either that, or I want to go to a reputed education institute like, say, Saint Stephen's in TU. That would be nice.
Okay. And IITs and all?
Well, they are my plan A, but not because there's so much competition. And sometimes, though I feel hopeful, I also feel it would be more rational to.
Okay. So that's your plan B.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. So thank you so much, Thanzat, for coming to Meisum, and then I wish you the best.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for
then,
having me over.
The day we heard about your result, my son Majon was really inspired hearing your result. So continue to be a good example for youngsters here, and even for all the upcoming kids in our community. So
yeah, I'll try.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me over.